The 20 by 20 campaign has been incredibly important for women's sport across Ireland. Firstly, at a participation level, grassroots, getting more girls up playing sport, finding sport fun, and then in addition to that, just the increase in the media coverage, the funding, the access to facilities. It's been huge and it's transformed women's sport in Ireland, but it needs to continue now to a point where we don't have to talk about women in sport because there's equality across the board. Well, I suppose in the early days of my career, you'd rock up to play a hockey match and you'd get a couple of mums and dads and a few dogs. And last November we played in a stadium down in Dublin with 6,000 people watching us, packed out stadium 2 days in a row. So there was a perfect example of where we were and where we've come to now. I think a big thing is obviously the media coverage, but for me the biggest difference is the esteem that role models, female role models, have been held in the last couple of years. There's been a huge change in that. Growing up for me, I was looking to professional footballers, all male, or rugby players, or even hockey players. You were looking at the male side of the game, whereas now you've got young girls growing up that can name female Arsenal players, that can name Irish women's hockey players, and that is for me the biggest change is the role model piece, and that has to continue in order for kids to grow up aspiring to be like successful female sports athletes. The biggest thing I would say is that there is a sport out there for everyone, and sometimes young girls will try one sport and decide that they're not a sporty person, and for me that's never the case. It's just you haven't found the right activity for you, because there's definitely a sport out there for everyone. And if you look in Ireland as a whole, there's a successful female sportswoman in almost every sport, so there is a role model there for you to follow and for you to aspire to be like.